Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Going Rounds podcast. Big E's back, and I got a lot to talk about today. I got a lot of fucking opinions too. Oh, I'm not supposed to cuss right away. Ah, well, whatever. Hopefully, people still see the video, even though I'm out here cussing right away. I don't give a shit because I'm just fired up today. Fucking just again, like last week, running behind, fucking work, stupid shit, all kinds of stuff, just holding me up, being dumb. Chat's open if you want to fucking talk. If you have an opinion on my opinions, or if you agree with me or just want to say what's up, got some questions, whatever, throw it in the chat. Uh I always take a moment to acknowledge whoever's in there, whatever's being said. Uh I'm here, ready to do this shit. Um, I don't know, man. Today was a day, especially the end of the day, but it's all good. I'm here to get shit done as always, and get to do the thing I like to do. It may cause me stress getting started, getting ready, prepping everything, but in the end, it's fun to see the outcome. And shit, when I got stuff to say, it's even more fun. I always have something to say, obviously, because I'm over here talking for like an hour plus. But today, I got a lot to say. There's been a lot of shit going on this week, over the past like week and a half. But this week, a lot of stuff's been going down. Things that happened during the fights last weekend for the UFC card, Vera versus Sandhagen. I don't know why I keep saying Sandhagen. It's Sandhagen. I think it's because a lot of people said Sandhagen at like when he first started getting big. There's no A there. It's just Sandhagen. You fucking idiot. Quit saying that. That's just me just being dumb and getting stuck in a stupid cycle of just being wrong like an idiot. So, whatever. I'll get it right. Yeah, like I said, a lot going down. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video if you're here watching it. And if you're watching it later, do the same. Throw some comments in the chat later if you're not watching this live. Throw some comments in the chat now if you are. And hopefully, you like or at least are entertained with what I got to say. A couple other things. I just wanted to give a shout out to my daughter Tren. She is doing her thing with gaming. She set herself a goal to get some set amount of subscribers to her channel on Twitch, which is Tenet Tren. So go check it out. Subscribe. You know, see what's going down. She's a gamer, so she streams on Twitch, and she's doing a pretty damn good job. She's putting content out there, so follow all of her social media pages, Tenet Trend everywhere. I believe she's on. I think she's on TikTok, Instagram for sure, Twitter. I don't know if she's on Facebook yet or not, but these damn kids. I don't know if they care about Facebook, but that's all right. But yeah, you can follow her YouTube channel as well, Tenet Trend. So go check it out. Shout out to Trend. I'm sure she'll be in the chat soon. She's always there. She supports me and watches my stuff too. So, um, but yeah, I wanted to give her a shout out real quick because she's been doing doing the damn thing and getting a lot of support. So I just wanted to keep that going. Keep doing that shit, Trent. You're doing good. I love it. Um, yeah, and let's see. So there's no UFC this week. If you saw the thumbnail, you probably know that. There's no UFC this week because they're taking a week off before the next pay-per-view, which is probably a good thing because they had two pay-per-views in what was it? Last or in March, I should say. Yes, because the next one will be in April already. The fuck is going on this year? I mean, it's already the end of March, going into April. Shit's going way too fast, man. Way too fast. I can't even keep up. But anyway, episode 34. I keep going with this shit as much as I can. I love it. I'm trying to keep it going, keep it fresh. So, yeah, I hope you guys keep watching and I hope you like it. Let's see what else. Do I want to get into anything else or should we just get into saying everything I want to say? Because I got a lot to say and I'm gonna come out hot. So get ready. But I'll just let you know right now, little ways down the road here in the podcast tonight, I'm going to be talking about the other events since there is no UFC. UFC usually takes the main stage when it comes to what I'm talking about, but this week there is no UFC, no fight nights, no pay-per-views, nothing. So UFC's off, like I said, but there's a lot of other shit going on. Professional boxing, exciting stuff. Anthony Joshua's fighting. I'm gonna touch on that real quick. We got Gamebred Boxing, which is professional boxing. It's a little bit of a different lineup, though. You know, there's a lot of ex UFC fighters on the card, but that's exciting for me because I like all these guys and women as well. There's ex UFC fighters that are women as well fighting in this boxing, uh, Gamebred Boxing. So yeah, and just some other news, stupid controversial stuff, stupid fucking people, more stupid fucking people, and we're gonna talk about all that shit. Oh, and then there's Bellator and PFL. I haven't talked about PFL a whole lot, because there's just not as much PFL that's been going down really. So, but this week starts the beginning of their season, and I'll touch on that a little more when I get there. And I'll be there in a bit. But like I said, I got a lot to talk about other than that. So let's get fucking rolling because yeah, I'm ready to talk some shit. All right, here we go. Hopefully everybody joins in and you know, listen to me just go off because that's what it's about right now. So, first things first, some combat sports news. If you don't know who these guys are, to the left, it's Jon Anik. He's a UFC commentator, one of the best in the game right now. You know, Joe Rogan's held as the legend commentator of the UFC, the best at it all around. But Jon Anik is definitely right up there with him. He's been doing it for a long time. He's a great like analyst, a great commentator, a great broadcaster in general. He has his own podcast. He's pretty funny with his podcast as well. That's where he gets loose and talks some shit, and I like it. And he does it with ex-UFC fighter Kenny Florian, who also is a part of the PFL, which we'll be talking about later. Kenny Florian is a analyst on the PFL, so they have the Anik and Florian podcast. And to the right is one of the biggest douchebag pieces of shit motherfuckers in the UFC. His name is Cockstained Colby Covington. And I'm only saying that because he likes to make up names for people. So I'm going to give him the same treatment because he's a fucking asshole and I don't like him. So the reason why there's this couple pictures put together here is because dumbfuck Colby, with his stupid name, his stupid face, and his stupid attitude, decided he wanted to go off and talk shit about Jon Anik. So not only does he talk shit about fighters, but he likes to talk shit about commentators who are not professional fighters as well. Not to mention, it's not like talking shit about Joe Rogan, who is a millionaire, billionaire, I'm not even sure anymore. Super successful. I mean, Jon Anik's successful too. I don't know what his money situation's like, but it's well known that Rogan's fucking rich as fuck, right? And Rogan also trains. He used to fight in Taekwondo, so he knows what it's about, and I'm sure he could hold his own if somebody came after him. I mean, there's videos that show that too. But Jon Anik is not that guy. He is from Boston. He's a smaller dude. I'm not saying he can't fight. I'm not saying he can't defend himself, but I am saying against a professional MMA fighter in the UFC, it's probably not the best idea for him to even try to. But I know that he would at least try to hold his own when it comes down to it. So when a dumb piece of shit like Colby Covington decides to come at him and doesn't just talk shit about him, decides to bring his family into the mix and involve his family, saying, basically making threats about, you know, Jon Anik, to Jon Anik. So basically what was said was, Anik said that Colby, okay, hold on, let me start from the beginning here. So, don't tell me, okay, so Dana White basically it was a surprise to everybody at UFC 286 that Colby was the backup fighter in London for the Leon Edwards Mauro Usman fight. Nobody really knew. I don't even think Usman or Edwards knew that he was going to be there to weigh in and be the backup fighter. So when he was there, everyone was surprised. He weighed in, he made weight, and he was there ready in case there was an injury or a sickness or somebody had to pull out for whatever reason, right? Somebody missed weight, whatever. Well, with that being said, Dana White decided, okay, Colby's getting the next title shot. And, you know, Leon Edwards had a lot to say about that. He basically said, hey, listen, I just defended my belt for the first time against the same guy I beat before to win that belt. And everyone knows that I won. And now it's my turn to call the shots. And I don't think Colby deserves it. Because here's the thing. Leon Edwards went, I don't know how many fights. He had like 8 to 10 to 11. I don't even remember. I don't even care. He had a bunch of fights in a row. He was in the running to... He was in contention for a title fight forever. He was basically in the background just waiting. And kept taking fights because they wouldn't give him the fucking title shot. So, and a lot of that has to do with, you know, Usman fighting certain people or Usman doing this or that or whoever the fuck else was in the way, right? So, while this is all happening, you know, everyone else is getting title shots and shit. Leon Edwards finally gets his shot. Doesn't look great throughout the whole fight. Then he gets that headshot, bang, dead, done. Fucking Usman out cold, wins the belt, right? Comes back, may not have been super dominant, but he definitely won the fight and defended his belt for the first time. And then this fucking idiot Colby is getting to be the backup fighter and then just automatically gets a title shot, right? This is what Dana's saying. So, like, how does he deserve it? He lost to Usman twice. He hasn't really been on this huge winning streak. He's been out, not even fighting because he's a little bitch. Now, I don't fully agree with what Masvidal did to him. And if you don't know, him and Masvidal have this thing because they used to be best friends and live together and all this shit. They fought in the cage. Colby won. Yes, I get it. Okay? But Colby likes to talk a lot of shit. Talked about Masvidal's family, and Masvidal's a fucking gangster. They call him Street Jesus for a reason. Because if you want to fuck with him in the streets, you're going to get blessed. And it might be in blood. So, Masvidal lived up to his name, and he fucked up Colby in the streets. Came up to him. Everyone says sucker punch. You know, Masvidal threw himself under the bus with that one, claiming to be the sucker punch king back in the day. Whatever. The clips surfaced and blah, blah, blah. I don't give a fuck. Because that little bitch-ass Colby, he deserved it. He talked all this shit. He likes to bring people's families into it. And he likes to fucking act like nobody's going to do anything to him. And you know what? In the cage or not in the cage, motherfucker, you talk that shit, you're going to get dealt with. And, you know, Masvidal couldn't do it in the cage because, in his words, you were too busy sniffing his crotch because he likes to wrestle. I mean, he's an all-American wrestler. I give him his props for his accolades or whatever, but he's still a little piece of shit. And fucking, he didn't knock out Masvidal. He dominated him, yes, but more in the wrestling, grappling section, which is fine. I mean, I'm not going to down on everybody doing that, but Colby's a pussy, and I don't like him, so fuck him. And, yeah, so Masvidal did what he said he was going to do. He said, when I see you in the streets, it's on point. So, or it's on site. So, he did it. And then Colby decided to call the cops, act like a little bitch, claimed that he had a TBI, that he had some kind of brain injury of some sort. He got his fucking tooth knocked out. And he's over here saying that Masvidal don't got shit, but he's the one on the sidelines fucking crying about having all these injuries from getting punched once, from what I understand. I don't know. Might have been once, might have been twice. Who the fuck cares? He deserved it. Either way, it's not like he got jumped by 17 dudes, right? He got hit by one guy that is a professional fighter, but so is he. And then the cops get involved. And now he's saying, now it's not in my hands anymore. It's in the it's in the legal system's hands and blah blah blah. Okay, Colby, but if it wasn't for you being a little bitch and calling the cops like the little bitch that you are, then this wouldn't be in any kind of legal situation. You motherfuckers are both fighters. Let it go. Fight again in the cage. If you're that much of a badass, call for that fight again and fucking get it again in the cage and then show everybody. Nobody got to see you get punched like the little bitch that you are, except for the people that were there. But you can go on national television, on pay-per-view, and show everybody how you're going to whoop Masvidal's ass, right? So just do that again. Instead, he calls the cops like a little bitch, starts threatening and actually put a lawsuit through to sue Masvidal. So throughout this whole time, of course, he's not going to fight because of all these claiming that he's injured with this, that, and the other fucking thing. And then all of a sudden, he pops up out of nowhere. And all of a sudden, you know, the lawsuit's dropped. Now, there's still legal implications coming to Masvidal, apparently, because they still won't talk about it because they still both say that it's a legal situation that they can't talk about. But, you know, because of all that, he hasn't been fighting. And then he just pops in out of nowhere with his stupid big fucking mouth, talking shit, being the dumb fuck that he is. And all of a sudden he gets a title shot. I don't blame Leon Edwards for not wanting to fight his stupid ass. And on top of all that, he's just making waves again, right? So Belal Muhammad. Okay, so I know I'm all over the place here, but like I said, I got a lot to talk about with this one, and I'm just trying to run it down here. So Belal Muhammad wanted the title shot as well. He's kind of in that spot where he can get that title shot. Now, he did say something stupid, saying, oh, just because Colby's white, he gets a title shot. I get it. That's a dumb fucking thing to say. But you know what? It's fair game when it comes to Colby Covington, who says a lot of dumb fucking shit. A lot of dumb shit. A lot of dumb shit. I'm going to keep saying that. Says a lot of dumb shit all the time. So Belal Muhammad says this, right? So then Colby comes back and says, oh, he's a racist. He wants to bring race into it. And, you know, everything's fair game when you bring race and religion into it, blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, everything's fair game when you start talking about people's families, like you did to John Anik, because John Anik stuck up for Belal, because Belal is a good friend of his, and he fucking, you know, they're just good friends with each other, and he backed him up and said, hey, listen, I don't blame him. Belal's been undefeated in the past, like, 4 years. He's been fighting all the top fighters, and it's about that time. It's just, he's one of those guys that doesn't get the title shot like he's supposed to at the time that he's supposed to. And maybe it's just, you know, a coincidence. Maybe it's just bad timing. I don't know. But Belal is up there and is one of the guys that should be getting the fight soon. And instead, Colby comes in, steps in like the little bitch that he is, slithers his little snake ass in there, and all of a sudden he's got the title shot. You know? So I don't blame Belal for being pissed. He should choose his words a little more wisely, because that was just like, I don't know, it was just treading in some water there that you don't want to be in, right? But fuck Colby, and he says a lot of dumb shit all the fucking time, and he always crosses the line. So if he thinks Belal saying that once crossed the line, fuck off. Like, fuck off. So what he said to John Anik is what really crossed the fucking line, because then he goes, oh, you know what? I have it right here, and I'm gonna play it right now. I'm gonna shut up, and I'm gonna let you listen to this little bitch talk. No, I don't like this motherfucker, Mike. I do not like this motherfucker. And you're going to listen to why I don't like this motherfucker in just a second. And I in my stream deck, I labeled this clip bitch ass Colby, because that's what he is, a fucking bitch. Here we go. Hold on one second, because I want to make sure that I have all of this ready to go. All right, here you go.
So you wanted to lick my freaking balls in London. Oh, Kobe, this. But then you want to go back behind the stage and cheerlead for a racist.
So there you go. He's calling Belal Muhammad a racist, right? He's talking about John Anik. That's how he started. This is what he's talking about. Look at his stupid fucking face and his dumb fucking hair.
So he associates with racism and Belal Muhammad. And, you know, John Anik, dude, I don't want your kids to grow up without a dad. Just realize you live in Boca. I live in Miami, motherfucker. You're not too far from me. So you better shut your fucking mouth. You poked the bear. Now you get the bear.
Fuck off, Colby. So there you go. That's what he said. He said, you know, I don't want your kids growing up without a father, saying that he lives nearby, all this other shit. Hey, to me, that's a threat. To me, that's like, all right, motherfucker, I'm gonna get you first. You want to threaten lives? Let's see whose goes first. Because yeah, you're all talk, motherfucker. You ain't gonna do nothing. You know, you're gonna say, I get paid to fight, I do this, let's do this in the cage legally. That's what I heard him saying over and over and over again in the fucking all of the podcasts that he was on this week, talking all this shit, you know. But he's on the MMA Roasted podcast, you know, and I give Adam Hunter credit because he called him out on the fact that, you know, he's calling Bilal Muhammad a racist. He's like, dude, he's not a fucking racist, man. So then Colby starts yelling in his stupid bitch voice, talking about how he is a racist. And then he says about John Anik, he's like, hey, you know, you're going to let words. Oh, no, he says about Masvidal hitting him in the streets, right? He says, you're going to let words get to you that bad that you're going to put yourself in a position to get arrested. He's like, oh, they're just words. They're just words. And it's like, dude, you're over here fucking saying just words to people that other people get shot for less. So, I mean, I don't know who the fuck you're dealing with, but when you're dealing with Masvidal, you're going to get knocked the fuck out. And he may not have knocked you out, but he definitely gave you a TBI because you're a little bitch and that poor little head of yours got hurt. So, and I'm not the only one. Hey, I'm not the only one. I'm talking mad shit right now, but I'm not the only one. All of these motherfucking fighters stuck up for John Anik. I didn't hear too many people trying to say that Colby was right, that Colby this and Colby that. You know, here's Colby crying like a little bitch that he is. And Bilal Muhammad said Colby after running into John Anik at LA Fitness. And that's a little hit at the Tekashi 6ix9ine fucking getting jumped in LA Fitness, which I thought was hilarious because Tekashi 6ix9ine is a little bitch too, little rat motherfucker. So then Jake Shields says, I hear he's pressing charges and suing because this is what this fool does. You know, that's what he does. And he's a little bitch. And I'm just going to keep saying that over and over again. I do not like him. I hate the way he talks. And here's the thing, okay? Everyone talks about how he's, oh, this is just his shtick. This is just his, you know, his fucking gimmick, blah, 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 blah. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Oh, he's a really good dude. He's not really like that. Fuck off. Fuck off. Because guess what? If that's the persona you're going to fucking put out there, and that's the person you want everybody to see, and that's what's going to make you your money in a game that's real, like fighting, this isn't WWE, motherfucker, and you're not Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen said some shit, right? And it was entertaining, and it was fun, and it was kind of funny. You know, sometimes he crossed the line a little bit. I didn't like Chael Sonnen do it when he did all that shit either. You know, Conor gets into that shit too, right? But Conor has mad skills. He may have fell off a little bit, but when it came down to it, I mean, he rose to the top, superstardom and all. And Colby thinks because he hung out with fucking Donald Trump for a minute because he's Mr. MAGA hat fucking douchebag running around with the goddamn hat on, acting like that's the only thing he can talk about. It's the only thing he can talk about. That's the only reason why anybody likes him, because he's like, oh, I love America. And okay, I get it, bro. But at the same time, everyone says that you're playing an act. So are you fucking acting on that? You don't really like WrestleMania this week. Hey, you're right. WrestleMania is this weekend. I don't usually cover all that, but I did hear all kinds of shit about that. So yeah, you're right. WrestleMania is this weekend. But yeah, but if that's an act, then maybe you're just acting about how much you love America and how much you love Trump. I don't know. How are we supposed to know what to fucking believe? Because all you do is run around talking that shit, and then everyone that kind of likes you thinks that they need to stick up for you, saying you're a good dude. Well, here's the thing, motherfucker. You weren't shit before you started all this shit talking. Now, I get it. You got to make that money, and the UFC was about to cut your ass. So then you want to start talking shit. Speaking of racist, you want to call all Brazilians dirty fucking animals, filthy fucking animals, and say that their hometown, their home country is filthy, dirty, disgusting. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think you're the racist if you want to play that way. So, yeah, that's Colby Covington. That little baby ass crybaby bitch. Fuck him. Fuck him. This week is just solidified it. I hate him more than Sean Strickland, and I hate Sean Strickland. But Sean Strickland is a real dumb fuck, and Colby's just playing one, which makes him more of a dumb fuck. So, yeah, that's my rant. What was that? Fucking like 10-15 minutes of talking shit about Colby. I would say he doesn't deserve that much time, but when it's that much time with that much fire behind it, fuck it. He deserves it. So, guess what, Colby? Fuck you. Go fuck yourself. And I hope somebody whoops your ass for talking shit about Anik. But I know what's going to happen. You're going to go crawl into him, apologizing in the background, saying, don't tell everybody I did this, but I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I feel like that's more bitch shit than anything. Because you're not an actor, you're not in a fucking movie, and you're not in the WWE. You don't have a script. So be a real motherfucker and stop playing this stupid game. Or else keep getting your ass whooped in the streets, and maybe next time more. You don't know who the fuck you're gonna run into. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just going overboard. Maybe. I don't know. But to me, you want to play that, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And that's what he's playing. That's what he's doing right now. So with that, I say, fuck you, Colby Covington. And John Anik's a G. I like him. And I'm glad that everybody's sticking up for him. And I'm glad that he takes the little jabs in his, when he talks about it, he takes little jabs here and there, saying, I'm not really threatened by this, because he knows Colby ain't gonna do shit. So, yeah, it's funny. And then he talks about how, oh, maybe I shouldn't say that because I might get sued. Funny. Subtle jabs are better sometimes. I'm not being subtle at all. I'm being harsh, and that's okay. I don't care. So, moving on. From one fucking idiot to another. So I want you to watch this right here. All right? This is a guy stuck in a triangle. Now, if you're looking, you could see right now, the dude is kind of limp. So his arm's moving a little bit, okay? But right there, he's limp. He's done. What does the ref do? He's just standing there. So this guy proceeds to put him in a fucking arm bar and basically break his arm. The dude is half out. He comes to with his arm being bent the wrong way. And, I mean, now he taps. Now he taps because he finally fucking woke up. Like, come on, man. This dude, this should have been done right about here. Right there. If you just look at his face, his eyes are closed. He's not moving. He's non-responsive. The ref should have gone over and picked up a hand to see if it was limp or done something. He didn't do shit. He's standing there watching it like a fucking idiot. Just standing there. I mean, how are you that close and you don't notice? Okay, so he comes to a little bit and he's, all right, now, basically limp. And the dude, not to mention, how do you not realize that the guy's out and then you're going to go and put him in an arm bar and fucking break his arm? What kind of dumb shit is that? I don't know, man. I don't know what the fuck's happening right now. Like, this is some stupid shit. And this guy should be fucking fired. He should be fired, and actually he should get his ass whooped or at least be fined. I mean, I'm not going to say you should get arrested because that's going a bit far, but I'd say kick him in the fucking nuts and tell him to pay some money to that poor fighter who now has a broken arm and ripped tendons and ligaments in his arm because this stupid fuck doesn't know how to do his job. Like, come on, man. I just don't get it, dude. And I mean, I know everybody's been talking about this week, but I had to put my 2 cents in because I'm screaming out loud as I'm listening to podcasts like, what the fuck? Like, and then I watch this clip over and over and over again, and I'm just like, what the fuck, man? I don't understand, people. I don't understand how someone can be so fucking stupid. So, just so you know, this is the dumbass that was reffing that fight. That doesn't know how to fucking ref. Shouldn't be called a ref. And his name, I shouldn't even be giving him any kind of time, but his name is Frank Colazzo. So, Frank, you've got the dumbass stamp because you're a fucking dumbass. Also, the Texas Athletic Commission are a bunch of dumbasses too, because not only did he not get reprimanded, not only was there no action taken on this dumb shit, but the very next night at Vera versus Sandhagen, this motherfucker was a judge. How? How is he allowed to then judge a fight after being a horrible fucking ref? Obviously, he doesn't know what's happening with fights when you can't realize that someone just got choked and put to sleep. And then to see someone's arm just get bent backwards and folded like that while the dude is basically still out. And then you're going to allow him to be a judge and play with people's money and livelihoods. Fuck, man. Dude, Texas, what are you doing? Get rid of this dumb motherfucker. Like, put him out in the streets with Colby. Tell him to talk some shit with Colby so that they both get their ass whooped. I don't know what the fuck this guy... I don't know what the fuck this guy was thinking. I don't know what he was doing. And I don't know how nobody decided to do anything to this dude. But I sure as fuck hope he doesn't ever ref for a UFC fight or any other fight for that matter. And I sure as fuck hope that he doesn't ever judge any other fight again either. Because, I mean, it's just egregious, man. I don't know how people can just let this shit slide. And this just is just something that goes to the judging and the reffing and the scoring system. Everything in MMA right now is just a fucking shit show. And somebody needs to do something. I mean, I don't have any power to do anything. I could maybe come up with some ideas, but a lot of people have come up with a lot of great ideas and a lot of things that could be implemented. I mean, give us a conglomerate of all of those ideas and put something together. Stop using the boxing method of scoring. Stop using MMA is a unique sport, and it's been around for UFC's been around for 30 years, but I mean, that's still pretty. I mean, that's like 30 years compared to boxing, which is over 100 probably. I mean, boxing's been around forever. Stop using the boxing model, though. It's not boxing. Stop using judges that are boxing judges. Just because you use the boxing model of scoring doesn't mean you should use the judges that only know boxing. So they don't know what the fuck's happening on the ground. This motherfucker is obviously so blind, doesn't know when somebody goes out and gets choked out. Like, what the fuck? So something needs to change, because it's ruining people's lives, because they're losing money from these dumbass judges that don't know what the fuck's going on. You're ruining people's lives because this fucking idiot doesn't know when somebody's been choked to sleep. I mean, what if that dude would have died? Then what? Exactly, Mike. How the fuck has it not changed? I mean, UFC has been mainstream for how long? MMA in general has been mainstream for how long? And why hasn't it changed? Why can't anybody come up with any different kind of scoring system? All these new fucking organizations that come out, and they're using the same shit. But the problem is that they're all under the thumb of the athletic commissions, right? In every state, there's an athletic commission. I'm thirsty from talking all this shit. So, every state has an athletic commission. So, all these athletic commissions treat things differently. They tried to implement rule changes, and not all of the athletic commissions adapted to those rule changes. They decided, nope, we're sticking with the old rules. Why? What needs to happen is there needs to be some kind of universal fucking athletic commission, even if it means just nationally in the US, or if it means like US and Canada. They go to Canada a lot. They go to Mexico a lot. Back in the days of Tough Season 1. Yeah, man. See, this is how fucking long this has been this stupid. Mike D was watching Tough Season 1 and saying the same shit I'm saying right now. Like, come on, man. How does nothing change ever? It just doesn't make any sense. And it sucks, and it ruins the sport. And, nobody likes change, right? Nobody likes changing things up. Nobody likes having to, figure out how to work around the changes, but it needs to happen, man. Especially there needs to be more judges. They need to take the judges outside of the arena and watch in silence or something of that nature, so that they're not influenced by the crowd They're not influenced by each other. They need to have their own scorecard that they make up on their own accord, and that they're held accountable. You can't even interview these judges, really. Chael Sonnen interviewed one guy, Douglas Crosby, who's a fucking idiot too. And the guy just skirted every question. And it didn't help that Chael's a friend of his, so Chael kind of took it easy, even though Chael's one of the guys that you would think would talk mad shit, but he's a friend, so he didn't. But they don't allow them to talk to people. They don't get on the mic and interview. They don't do any of that shit. They don't get on podcasts, really, and most of the refs don't either. So when something happens, none of these motherfuckers are held accountable. They may get the hate on social media, on Twitter or whatever, but either way, they're not held accountable. And it's all a bunch of bullshit. So, there we go. More rants. More people being stupid. And we're going to slide out of that a little bit slowly, because maybe Valentina Shevchenko isn't stupid, but I think her argument might be a little stupid. But it has to do with if she's correct in what she's saying when she lost the belt, then it does have a little bit to do with bad reffing, right? So she's claiming that something that pretty much affected her and caused her to lose the fight a little bit was the fact that at one point I don't know if she said she was mounted or just in Alexa Grasso's guard, and she said she was grounded. She was doing ground and pound and throwing punches and staying active, and apparently Jason Herzog made them stand up. So she said that she kind of punched herself out and got a little kind of winded, I guess, from that exchange, because she was thinking that she could finish the fight there, and instead he stood him up. I don't recall her actually arguing this in the moment, so I give her credit for that, because if she was unsure until she watched it back, then maybe that was a good thing. Maybe it's good that she kind of kept it to herself. But yeah, this is what she went on Ariel Helwani's show saying. She didn't make a gigantic deal about it, and I, like I said, I kind of give her props for that. She has a gripe, but she's not going crazy about it. She's just saying that some changes need to happen and people need to be held accountable, which is what we're all saying now. So yeah, that was one of those things. So I feel kind of bad for her, but at the same time, it's one of those things that can be easily twisted and turned into, you're just making excuses. Don't make those excuses. You lost in the most obvious fashion. This right here, what's in this picture right here, if you're just listening, I'm showing a picture of her getting subbed. She got submitted, and she does not have an OnlyFans. But you can see some pretty spicy pictures on Instagram, I think. But no official OnlyFans. Did I say OnlyFans? I meant Instagram. I don't know. You know what I mean. On Instagram, go check it out. Not too bad looking. But anyway, Mike D's obsessed with me giving updates on OnlyFans. MMA fighters with OnlyFans. I think it's hilarious. I might even make it a segment in the show. I don't know. The guys on the Rumble are interested, so maybe other people will be too. Hey, I can't help it if I follow all these fighters and I see all their social media and they're posting that they have OnlyFans. I can't help it. It's just there. And sometimes you get curious and you got to go see what's up. It is what it is. Anyway, moving on to a little bit more upbeat, happier stuff. Cowboy Cerrone is now going, he's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. So this upcoming July, I believe they do it. He will be a Hall of Famer in the modern wing of the UFC Hall of Fame. So they do different wings of the Hall of Fame. They do Pioneer Wing. They do different fights, fights that were iconic or stuff like that. And then they do the modern wing, guys that just that are pretty much considered legends right now, and that just retired. Cerrone just retired not too long ago, just like Aldo. Aldo was told he was going to be put in the Hall of Fame a couple months ago, and he just retired not that long ago as well. So But yeah, he's got they got a little bit of stats here. Oh crap, I didn't mean to do that. 38 UFC fights, which is third all time for UFC, the amount of UFC fights. 18 fight night bonuses, tied for the most in UFC history. 23 wins, tied for the second most in UFC history. And then 16 finishes, which is tied for second most in UFC history. That's pretty fucking legendary. And Cowboy's just been a staple of the UFC for a long time. You know, a lot of people talk shit saying he's a company man and blah, 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 blah. But I think he's pretty badass. I've been following him and his career for a very long time because he was a part of a show from the Tap Out guys. They had their own reality show where they went and found up-and-coming fighters. They sponsored them. They gave them gear. They paid for their training. They paid for their all kinds of stuff. It was a great thing. Charles Mask Lewis headed that up. R.I.P. to him. I haven't talked about him in this. I would have definitely been talking about the Tap Out guys a lot back in the day because I used to wear the shirts all the time, their hats, all their gear. I met him at the UFC Fan Expo, except for Mask, of course, because he passed away before that. But yeah, I mean, Mask used to run around saying, "Cowboy, Cowboy." That's what he used to say all the time when Cowboy showed up anywhere they were, or when he walked in the gym to go watch him train. "Cowboy," over and over, man. It was like you knew exactly who was saying it, and you knew exactly why he was saying it. It was, man, it was dope. I love that. I miss those days, the Tap Out days when it was big. The show was good. You got to watch all their crazy antics. Watch them all get in an RV or in a bus and ride around together. You know, they would like kind of tour, going and watching other fights and shit. Kind of like that was like the back in the first iteration of like Dana White looking for a fight. If you've seen that show, that's kind of what the Tap Out guys did. So yeah, it was dope. I still have the DVDs of every season of that show. That's how much I liked it. So I'm sure a lot of you remember it if you're listening and you've known me for a long time. But anyway, congrats to Cowboy, man. He's a legend. And you know, this is a cool graphic I found from back in 2020, so who knows what can be added to this. But he's a wild motherfucker. He's bull riding at one point. He's skydiving, snowboarding, fucking deep sea cave diving, all kinds of crazy shit. So they put together the Crash Test Cowboy. It's like broken nose fighting Tony Ferguson at UFC 238, 24 broken ribs, 12 feet of intestines lost in an ATV accident, after which he was temporarily pronounced dead, which is insane. Broken feet. He broke one or more bones around 40 times during 90% fight stuff, 10% stupid stuff. He was not a champ, Mike D. Never was. He did fight for the belt a few times, but I mean, people love him. He was good for the sport and good for the company. And he was one of those guys, anytime, anywhere, any place, and Cowboy would be there, show up, fight, not give a fuck. He had cauliflower ears from 15 years of grappling, split both lips, bucked and head-butted by a horse, and then, of course, broken hands, broken half a dozen times each, but never while fighting. That's insane. So, I mean, Cowboy's a fucking legend, man. I love that dude. Actually, if you see that picture right there, let's see, right? I can't point. Which way? Right there. Right there. That's Cowboy and McGregor. Now, that was a horrible fight. He definitely is a people's champ, Mike. He didn't win that fight. Unfortunately, it was a really bad fight for him, but it was when he's on his way out, losing to McGregor. But that was, I put that up there because my daughter Haley loves Cowboy. Always has since the UFC Fan Expo in 2013 when we got to meet him. He was so badass to her. He was like joking with her, making her laugh. It was so dope when we got to meet him and we got pictures with him and stuff. And I was happy as fuck because I love that dude. I've like I said, I've followed his career for a long time. But yeah, her boyfriend likes McGregor, so that's like a house divided picture. And until she moves out, it lives in my room. That's pretty dope. But anyway, congrats to Cowboy. And good luck on your future ventures, bro, because you're a fucking movie star. He's starring in movies now. I mean, he started kind of as a stuntman. Now, none of these are like blockbuster, movies or anything like that, but I mean, who knows when he makes it up there, right? Because this is how, I mean, a lot of people get started in shitty movies, and not all these movies he's been in are shitty. He was in Spencer Confidential, if you remember that first scene where you got Post Malone, you got COWBOY, and some other fools that are fighting Mark Wahlberg in prison, I think. Yeah, in prison. Yeah, that COWBOY was in that. He's been in all kinds of fucking movies. Either he's a stuntman or he's in the movie itself as a bad guy. A lot of shit. And he's starring in this movie. I can't remember the fucking name. I just saw the preview for it the other day. But Chael Sonnen, Rampage Jackson, and a few other people are going to be in that movie. It looks pretty dope. I can't wait to watch it. I mean, it's a real action type movie. So, yeah, I'm going to watch it just because it's COWBOY. And all those other familiar faces. Jesus Christ, it's 7:46. I'm over here talking, and I'm not even through my first section of shit. I guess I wasn't lying when I said I had a lot to talk about. Anyway, cheers to COWBOY on your Hall of Fame induction. It's gonna be dope to see you get into that Hall of Fame, get that jacket, and I'm happy for you. Anyway, let's get through this shit. So there's a boxing fight going on this weekend as well. Like I said, Anthony Joshua versus, at this point I forgot the dude's fucking name. That's a damn shame. Let me see if I can, you know what? Who gives? Jermaine Franklin. I'm sorry. But anyway, this is, a lot of people are talking about this fight because it's kind of a tune-up fight for Anthony Joshua, from what I understand. I don't understand boxing a whole lot, but according to what everyone's saying, it's kind of a tune-up fight. If Anthony Joshua loses this fight, it's not a good thing for him. So he should be able to showcase his skills, maybe get a pretty dominant performance or a really good highlight KO. And if he does that, it's going to just continue to catapult his career, and maybe he'll get that big fight with Tyson Fury. Maybe they can make it happen. Or Deontay Wilder, whoever else he's going after. But anyway, I just wanted to bring this out there because it is a big fight going on this weekend. But yeah, let's recap real quick. And nothing's been quick so far. But thanks, Mike D, for supporting and staying in there and listening to me rant, because, yeah, I appreciate that. And interacting, of course, even if it's questions about OnlyFans. Yeah, Vera versus Sandhagen. So, again, Texas, man. Fucking everyone's ranting and raving about Texas, about Austin. This was in San Antonio, but still, Texas State Athletic Commission, right? I mean, it's for the state. So, yeah, this was another fucking... There was just some judging in this one that was kind of fucking horrible. I'll get to it as I talk about the fights. But yeah, not a bad event, and nothing too crazy happening except for the controversies with judges. That's the thing. You never want a ref or a judge taking the spotlight off of a fight card. You want to be talking about nothing but the fights. But a lot of what I've heard going on this week, all the chatter going on this week, has been about the judging and the reffing. Not really the reffing as much in this one, but the judges. So we'll just start off real quick with one of the fight title I was happy to watch was Macy Barber versus Andrea Lee. Andrea Lee, that OnlyFans. There you go, Mike D. But yeah, Macy Barber, the future, she got that win. They did, go back and forth. It was a pretty close fight. In my opinion, I do think Macy Barber kind of squeaked it out, but I could see why a lot of people thought that Andrea Lee won. It was back and forth, man, and it was close, so it was kind of tough. I heard a lot of people talking about how, Andrea Lee got robbed, basically, that the judging was horrible in this one. I don't know, man. Like, from what I saw, it could have gone either way, really. So for me, it's not like crazy. But I can see why a lot of people thought Andrea Lee won. I don't know. It just wasn't that crazy to me. So I don't know. If you watched it, let me know what you thought. If you didn't watch it, go back and check it out and see what the controversy was about. Again, I didn't see anything that was outrageous. Like I said, it was very close. Could have gone either way. They both got hits in and mounted an offense against each other. I don't know, man. Anyway, Macy Barber got the win. Andrea Lee was disgusted, but what can you do? That's the way it goes. And now, I mean, people always say you can't say don't leave it in the hands of the judges, blah 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 blah. But here's the thing, you can't leave it in the hands of the judges anymore when fucking the judging is this bad, right? I'm not gonna get into it again, but the thing is fucking find a way to finish the fight, man. Submit somebody or knock them the fuck out. That's really all you can do. Or get yourself to a level ahead where it's obvious it's a dominant performance. But the problem with that is that even if you have a dominant performance, you can still get that one idiot that fucks it up for you. We'll talk about that when we get to Sandhagen and Vera. But the other fight I wanted to talk about was Nate the Train Landwehr versus Austin Lingo. Nate the Train is a fucking character. I kind of forgot who this dude was when I was like previewing the fights. There's so many fucking fighters, it's like hard to keep up sometimes. But kind of forgot who this guy was. This dude's got some swagger, man. And you wouldn't think he looks the way he looks when you hear him talk. But they call him Nate the Train. It's hilarious. He's got the train tattooed on his arm. Not a train, but the words "the train" tatted on his shoulder right there. It's kind of funny. And the way that he talks, man, he comes out with some promos and he spits some fire on the mic after his fights. And he's got this, like, I don't know. He's got this way of talking. Little, I don't know, man. But it's hilarious. And he's fun to listen to. So, yeah, he's got, he connected with this knee. And he got the sub on Austin Lingo. And, yeah, he got that win. So, as you can see here, he's got that, like, Ric Flair vibe. He says some shit. He puts some words together. Makes it sound dope. And you're just laughing and having a good time and want to scream, woo, after every time he talks. So, and it's like you're waiting for him to show up in a big fur coat, some loafers and some chains and some sunglasses. That's kind of the vibe and the swag that he's got going on. It's hilarious. And like I said, looking at the dude, he doesn't seem like that type of guy, but he's funny as fuck. So check him out. Go watch his post-fight interview in the cage. It was funny. And then if you see some interviews or something from him somewhere else, you'll know what I'm talking about. Moving on though to Holly Holm versus Yana Santos or Kunitskaya. You might know her better by that, but yeah, this was a dominant performance, man. Holly Holm, she looked like she put shit together finally. She was kind of lacking in the wrestling and grappling portion of fighting. She's an ex-professional boxer, Golden Gloves winner, I think. She was a world champ in boxing, multiple titles, and then she moved over to MMA, and she got the title in MMA as well when she beat Ronda Rousey. And I mean, she pretty much dominated. So Yana just didn't know what to do. Holly just was way stronger and just dominated her pretty much. There's not much more to it. As you can see here, she got the best of her with the strikes. Look how ripped up Holly is. And by the way, Holly Holm is fucking 42 years old. So I mean, she looks like if she stays on this track, she might be in contention here soon again, to maybe fight for that title one more time before she retires. But there's not a lot of time left. I mean, not too many male fighters fought past 42. So, the female fighters are kind of the same, especially when you had an entire boxing career before you even came to MMA. That's a lot of damage and a lot of wear and tear. But, I mean, she's kind of made for the fight game. So here she is, just, you know, dominant position, ground and pounding Yana. Yana couldn't get out of it. That's just kind of how it went. And Holly Holm got the decision and won the fight. And Yana looks defeated. She kind of has that look like she knows what's up. So there's not much to that. Holly Holm got the win. And then the main event. Oof, nasty punch by the Sandman, Corey Sandhagen. Look at Cheeto's face, man. I don't know what happened to Cheeto. Vera, Marlon Vera was just not there this night. He didn't look like himself. You know, Sugar Sean O'Malley said it wasn't Cheeto being bad or not being himself. It was more about how good Corey was. And I get that. But the thing is he's a slow starter, but after he gets going, he turns it way the fuck up. So as long as he's not got like massive damage on him by the time he really gets going, he turns it up and he gets going big time. And next thing you know, he's winning the fight. So, but this didn't happen. He started getting things, putting things together in the third round, but unfortunately, he just couldn't keep it going. You know, he's another victim of that iconic flying knee by Corey Sandhagen. I mean, he's done it to almost every opponent, which in turn knocked out a few of them with that flying knee. He halfway landed it on Cheeto, but you know, still, he got the picture, and I mean, you can see it. That's Corey's thing. He's like a fucking jackrabbit, or like a frog. He just leaps out of nowhere, and it's high, and he gets that knee up to that head, one way or the other. But yeah, Corey got that win easily. Now, the controversy on this, so pretty much one of the fucking judges decided to give Cheeto Vera the fight. He basically said he won rounds 3, 4, and 5. But it's like, what the fuck? If you watch the fight, you know absolutely no way could anybody think that Cheeto got that win at all. So how does one judge decide that he won the whole fight? Out of everything, he won the whole fight because come on. So yeah, that's some bullshit. Texas, I don't know what's up with Texas, man, but some bullshit. Either way, good to see Corey and Cheeto giving respect to each other at the end of the fight. You know, it does look like Corey suffered a lot of damage. He's got some hair in his hair. I mean, some hair. Of course he's got some hair. He's got some blood in his hair and stuff like that, but you know, it was a crazy fight. He fights hard, they both do, and they put up a good show. Unfortunately for Cheeto, he just couldn't get it all the way up there, and get his energy levels up and his striking in there. He just couldn't get it going. So Corey Sandhagen, stop saying Sandhagen. Corey Sandhagen with that win. All right, so moving on to PFL 1 for the 2023 season. Let me see what I know I have. There it is. All right. Yeah, so we got Brendan Loughnane versus Marlon Moraes. So Loughnane is the champ from last season. He's one of those guys that has a big name. Everyone's talking about him, especially after the PFL season last year. And going against Marlon Moraes, who's an ex-UFC fighter. And he did big things in the UFC, made waves, but you know, he just made his way out pretty much and wound up in the PFL, and he's been doing fairly well in there as well. And then another ex-UFC fighter, Thiago Santos, which is the husband of Yana Santos, who fought Holly Holm last week. That he's fighting as well in the co-main against Rob Wilkinson, which I believe was in the UFC as well. Yeah, he was. He only had 2 fights in the UFC. Unfortunately, they were both losses, but we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, sorry, I'm just kind of cleaning up my mess over here on my desktop. But so here's kind of the lineup for the fights. This is happening Saturday, I believe. Yes, Saturday. So you got Rob Wilkinson versus Thiago Santos. Looking at their stats here, this is from the PFL page, webpage. Yeah, so it looks like 17-2, 22-11. If you're looking here, it says points. PFL goes off the point system. They do it just like other sports where, you know, they go through the season. They have set amount of fights. They actually don't have a lot of time in between fights like UFC fighters do, because UFC doesn't do seasons. They just go year round. So anyway, you accumulate points by getting wins. I think you get more points for a finish than you do for a decision. I think you get more points for a knockout than a submission, or vice versa, or both. I don't remember specifically all the rules, but they accumulate the points, and then that's how you get into the tournament at the end, where you're fighting for the $1 million. So it looks like Wilkinson has the reach, but it's a light heavyweight fight at 205. So that is your co-main. I don't know how I missed the first one, but I did. Brendan Loughnane versus Marlon Moraes. Like I said, Moraes was in the UFC before. Brendan Loughnane has been making waves in the PFL, and I believe he was in Bellator before. But this is a featherweight fight. We got the champ from last year fighting in this one. And I want to look at Brendan Loughnane. Let's see. He's been in PFL for quite a while, actually, since 2019. He fought on Dana. Oh, that's what it was. He fought on Dana White's Contender Series, and he got the win, but he didn't. He was the guy who didn't get a contract, but it was because it was like at the beginning of the season or something of Dana White's Contender Series, and nobody got finishes. Everyone was kind of playing it safe, and Loughnane, I think, got the finish. Let me see if I can find it. No, he got a decision, but he fought really well, and it was pretty impressive. But Dana White still didn't give him the contract, and then he turns around, gets to the PFL, and winds up winning $1 million in the PFL. So he wasn't in Bellator. I think I was thinking of the Contender Series, but either way, he beat out Bubba Jenkins, who's also on this card. Chris Wade, who's an ex-UFC fighter as well. Sorry, no, I read that wrong. And yeah, that's about it. But anyway, that should be an exciting fight. Let's see who else we have on this. Like I said, Bubba Jenkins is fighting on this card. I thought there he is, against Chris Wade, who is also an ex-UFC fighter. Like I said, that should be a good one. And yeah, PFL, man. I don't know a ton of these guys, but I plan on watching a lot more of it this season. It seemed to be pretty exciting last season, so I'm wanting to get a little more into it this year. I did follow some of it last season, but yeah, I didn't get to watch it all the way through, and I kind of skipped around. So anyway, moving on to the other event going on, Bellator 293. We got Marcelo Gone versus Daniel James for a heavyweight main event. No titles on the line this fight, but we have a ex-UFC fighter once again. Kat Zingano. She fought for the title a few times in the UFC against Ronda Rousey, Amanda Nunes, and I think she's got a win over Amanda Nunes too. But she's fighting Leah McCourt. who has been in Bellator for a little while. And yeah, she's been there since 2019. Pretty much all of her professional career, she's been in Bellator. So anyway, that should be an exciting fight. Zingano's the number one contender in the featherweight division over at Bellator, and McCourt is number 4. So should be a good fight. And let's look here. We got Daniel James versus Marcelo Gome, the main event, like I said. Brazil versus USA. We got Kat Zingano versus Leah McCourt. Looks like Leah is a couple inches taller. She does look really tall too, by the way. But we haven't seen Kat Zingano fight in a little bit. So I'm hoping that she comes back strong. Let me see when her last fight was. Well, she fought last year in June. So I guess it wasn't that long. But in the past like few years, she's had one fight in 22, one fight in 21, one fight in 20. Before that, it was one fight in 2018. So it's like she's kind of 2018. She had a lot, like 3 fights. So, you know, she's been riddled with injuries and whatnot. But yeah, I'm happy to see her back. Then you got John Salter versus Aaron Jeffrey. Look at that fucking strong mullet on that guy. We got the mullet and the ears. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be talking shit, making fun of him, but kind of funny. Stands out. Archie Colgan versus Justin Montalvo. I can't talk. Sullivan Coley versus Luke Trainer. Yeah, so that's your main card there. Not too bad for a Bellator card. I'm excited to see what happens with Kat Zingano. I've been waiting for her to fight again. It's been a while. So yeah, that wraps it up for that. And yeah, we made it kind of quick to the end, but I got a bit to talk about with this final event going on this weekend. Like I said, no UFC, but you're going to be busy. If you follow combat sports, there's a lot to watch. You know, PFL, Bellator. I think Bellator is on... Crap, hold on. When is Bellator? Yeah, it is Friday. So tomorrow, Bellator is on tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. So that makes it, what, 5 p.m. here? Or, I don't remember. Damn time change. Either way. So yeah, you got Bellator Friday, PFL Saturday. What was the boxing fight? Joshua versus Franklin, I believe, is Saturday as well. If I can find the damn picture, I would tell you. April 1st. So yeah. That's Saturday, right? I don't even remember at this point. I got too much to think about. But anyway, you got all that. And then you also have Gamebred Boxing. So Gamebred Boxing is a boxing promotion that is promoted by Jorge Masvidal, who is a UFC fighter currently. I'm sure you recognize the name. I spoke of him earlier. You know, gave Colby Covington a little bit of some street justice. But he's got his own fighting promotion. He does Gamebred Boxing. He does a bare knuckle MMA promotion as well. And I think he's trying to get into other shit too. But just like Anthony Pettis, just like Uriah Faber, just like Khabib had, all these guys are getting their own fighting promotions. You know, any of them can be like farm leagues that wind up putting fighters in the UFC. So they all have something to offer, and I'm all about it because these guys know fighting. They've been in the fight game for a long time, and you know, they're putting together their own promotions. So if you're looking at this graphic right now, or if you're just listening, I'll tell you, Roy Jones Jr. is fighting on this fight card. So I know that sounds kind of crazy because Roy Jones Jr. is kind of old. And I don't mean that in a mean way. It's just he's been around a long time. And, you know, he fought against he fought against Mike Tyson in that exhibition match where they kind of didn't what do you call it? They didn't punch each other in the head really. It was more just body shots. I spilled something, so I'm over here trying to clean it up a little bit. Uh um but yeah, it was more like body shots, so everyone thought it was going to be kind of a crazy event, and it turned out to be a little somber. I mean, it was cool to see Mike Tyson out there fighting again, but at the same time, they're both kind of old, and neither one of them looked real impressive at the moment for the most part. But anyway, yeah. Roy Jones Jr. versus Anthony Pettis. So Anthony Pettis is quite a bit younger, but, it is what it is. You also got Vitor Belfort versus Jacare Souza. So if you've watched UFC in the past 6-8 years, you know who those guys are for sure. And you got Jose Aldo versus Jeremy Stevens. So Belfort and Jacare have fought each other in the UFC before. And I believe Aldo and Stevens fought each other in the UFC before as well. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, all these ex-UFC fighters that are going to be on this card, along with female fighters as well. You got Pearl Gonzalez versus Gina Mazzani. Gina Danger is her nickname. But yeah, these two women are fighting as well. Mike D was excited when I told him about Pearl Gonzalez and her OnlyFans. So go check that out if you want to know why he got excited about that one. All the guys like that one pretty much. But yeah, Pearl Gonzalez, she was a side note and fun fact. Pearl Gonzalez was I think it was her first fight or her second fight in the UFC. She was supposed to be fighting in New York, and they didn't let her fight because of her breast implants. Kind of interesting. I don't know exactly what the reasoning behind that was. That was kind of a long time ago. But yeah, there was something to do with her breast implants, and they didn't want to let her fight in New York. That was kind of weird. Even because I know there's been other females that have fought there that have breast implants as well. So that's kind of crazy. And that's another reason to go check out her OnlyFans. Hey, I'm just trying to bring these girls money, you know what I'm saying? They're trying to make an extra buck for their, for their living and bills and whatnot. So I'll help them out. Go check it out. Anyway, Vitor Belfort versus Jacare Souza. Now these guys have a history. Like I said, they've fought before. Jacare got the win against Vitor. I think this was when Vitor kind of came off the juice, or the TRT, whatever you want to call it. Either way, yeah. So Jacare, weirdly enough, didn't submit him, but got a ground and pound TKO by punches, and he won that fight. But Vitor has since actually had a professional boxing fight. I think it was, I don't know, it might have been an exhibition. I think it was a professional fight though, against, of all people, Evander Holyfield, which is kind of crazy because obviously Evander is pretty old, and I was kind of surprised to see that he even got in there. Vitor is not the youngest, but he got in there and he kind of manhandled Holyfield, which, unfortunately Holyfield looked very old. This was him halfway out of the ring as he fell, and it wasn't even because Vitor punched him, unfortunately. It was because he swung so hard and wild, and Vitor just basically stepped out of the way of the punch, and Holyfield just fell over. It was a real old guy moment, unfortunately. I hated seeing this. It sucked. Vitor did score a knockdown on Holyfield. He just worked it, man, and basically Vitor got the finish standing, by punches. But well, yeah, it's boxing, so of course punches, but I forget, MMA rules the brain over here. So yeah, it sucked to watch it happen, but it is what it is. So Vitor's got that boxing experience under his belt. Jacare doesn't. He wasn't really known as much of a striker in the UFC either. So it's gonna be kind of crazy to watch this one go down. Moving on to Jose Aldo versus Jeremy Stevens. I believe these two fought before. I'm gonna look it up though, because I don't remember specifically if they did. Either way, they are fighting. They are boxing. So Aldo also has experience in boxing, professional boxing, I should say. I think he's had one fight only, but he has fought before. Oh yeah, so Aldo beat Stevens in 2018, TKO by punches. So it's Stevens trying to go for that revenge. But like I said, Aldo has some boxing experience. He fought a younger guy, but he was only like maybe, I mean, he was like in his 30s, so it wasn't too young. But this dude looks very young, actually. But Aldo got some good punches in there. Looked pretty decent as a boxer. This isn't the best picture. It's not very technical. But from what I understand, his training has gone a lot better. And his boxing has gotten better. And, you know, he is fighting somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience in boxing. But as you can see, he does have heavy hands. Pretty good accuracy. He does throw a lot of, like, you know, big looping punches, but he has a lot of power behind those punches. So Jeremy Stevens is one to look out for, especially if all you have to do is worry about his hands. Well, his hands are pretty heavy and he uses them well. So as you can see here, you know, he got that knockout against I believe that was Doo-Ho Choi, or was that, man, who was that? I think it was Doo-Ho Choi. Either way, yeah, I mean, knockout power in both hands, really. So boxing might be the thing for him. So we'll see how that one goes. Moving on to the main event, Roy Jones Jr. versus Showtime Pettis. Anthony Pettis, that is. They call him Showtime for a reason, though, because he definitely shows off with some of his strikes. And if you remember against Benson Henderson, where he made the Showtime kick popular, running off the cage and kicking Benson in the face and dropping him. So, you know, that's why his nickname is Showtime. He's definitely out there to put on a show. But, you know, Roy Jones Jr. is a fucking legend, but he likes to show off too. This was him in his younger days, obviously. But look at him just playing with this guy, moving his head, put his hands behind, and then crack, done on the ground. Pretty impressive. Roy Jones always had fast hands, always put on a show. But yeah, you know, he's a lot older now, so I guess we'll see what happens going up against a younger guy like Anthony Pettis. But he is very, very decorated as a champion. Obviously, boxing is a lot different than the UFC. There's a lot of belts, a lot of titles, a lot of different promotions, I guess, or I don't know. I don't really know what you call it. WBC, WBO, all this other stuff. There's all kinds of stuff. So that's why he's got so many belts. Obviously, though, he's a pretty big champ. But Anthony Pettis knows a little something about that champ life, because he was a champ as well. Got that UFC lightweight title. Was on the goddamn Wheaties box at one point as well. So his rise was pretty epic, especially when he got on that Wheaties box. But he's another dude that was really cool. I got to meet him at the UFC Fan Expo back in the day as well. That's what I always remember. And then my wife's always been a big fan of his. Not exactly sure why. But we did watch him on World of Janks, I think. Yeah, it was like a reality MTV show. And he was on there because, like, his father passed away and he was going through all this hardship and just coming up as a fighter and stuff. Him and his little brother Sergio, who's a Bellator champion right now. But yeah, they've come a long ways. Pretty dope. Anthony Pettis is a good dude. And he's got that Showtime power. Look at this. Bounces off the cage. Cracks Wonderboy Thompson. something no one else has ever been able to do, which is knock out Wonderboy Thompson. So it was pretty exciting and pretty shocking when this happened, especially because Pettis wasn't in like his big time, you know, popularity championship status right here. It was pretty crazy watching this KO. So yeah, Gamebred Boxing, check it out. I believe it is there. You can get the pay-per-view on UFC Fight Pass. You can also get it. Hold on. Just regular. It says your home. Oh, payperview.com or UFCFightPass.com. Yeah, anywhere you get pay-per-view, pretty much. Saturday, April 1st. It's happening in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That is Anthony Pettis' home as well. So that's pretty interesting. But yeah, that about wraps it up. Those are the other events going on. I know I spent way more time bitching and complaining and talking shit about Colby and about refs and judging. But you know what? It's no UFC this week. So the amount of time I would have normally taken on UFC, I decided to take on that. I don't care. I'm just doing what I do. And, when it comes to Bellator and PFL, I'm going to get a little more into it. I'm going to learn a little more about their fighters. But man, UFC is a lot. They have events every week. They are the biggest organization out there for the most part, the most well known, the one that brings the most viewers. So, I cover and the one I followed the most for since I started watching MMA, I followed that organization more than anything. So, when it comes down to it, it's the mainstay of this show is UFC. So kind of revolves around UFC. But I do cover everything else as much as I can. I like bringing light to some of these events, and I like watching. I mean, I like I do like watching all of it too. So I do watch as much as I can, and I get into all of it. So if you were here with me, Mike D, definitely the one most vocal in the chat and was watching for a while. I'm pretty sure he's not watching at this point. It's been an hour and a half almost, which it felt like a lot longer because it was like 7:45 and I wasn't even done with my first folder of stuff I was going through. I did go through the rest a little faster, but that's okay. Nothing too crazy and exciting, the previewing of the fights, it is what it is. It's usually the recaps that get you, get to see more of the crazy stuff, but I like doing all of it. It's fun. I love doing this shit, and I'll keep doing it for as long as I possibly can. Even with any technical difficulties or being rushed and having to be last minute and being stressed about getting everything together, but that's how much I care about it. I do get stressed out. And this is just something that I love doing actually, and it feels weird, and I apologize to my wife all the time for taking time from away from her or us being together, but she understands and she supports the hell out of me all the time. There's if you've noticed, I've got a DRP Entertainment little add in to the welcome screen and the end screen. That's just because I'm kind of putting everything under that. Uh, it's just a new thing that I'm doing, and I want to see if I can grow this a little more. I'm not going to press for it to be like my biggest money maker, or I don't even know if I can make money off of it. At some point, I assume I can, but I'm just wanting to keep it going and grow it and see where I can take it and just keep doing it because it's fun and I love podcasting in general. Whether it's about this or other things, I'm kind of thinking about starting another podcast where I can actually talk to other people, have guests all the time, and get into deep conversations with people about various different topics, life events, life stories. I don't know. A lot of it interests me. I know in my own household here, there's a lot of stories that can be talked about. So, with just that, I mean, I have a lot of interesting friends and acquaintances and just people that I'd be interested to get into deeper conversation with, when you're out in a public setting where you don't really get to sit down and, have a in-depth, intimate conversation with somebody. That sounds weird, but you know what I mean. Um you don't really get to learn all that much all the time when, especially when you're just drinking and out there having fun in a club or at a bar or something like that. So, maybe I might do something like that at some point too. I've thought about that ever since I even started this podcast. So maybe I'll do an offshoot of that at some point. And then, I could get all the guys from the Rumble because uh Mike D and Magics aren't too big on MMA. So, you know, Tommy did it because he was keeping up with stuff and talking to me about it all the time. So, and I know that he used to watch him as much as I did, I think, at some point. So, yeah, anyway, next week I'm gonna try to get I keep saying this, but and Patrick hasn't said anything, but I am gonna try to get Patrick back on, and Clark will come back in here too. Maybe get them both on at the same time. I gotta shoot them both a message and see what's up with them. I haven't really heard much from Clark since the last time he was on, as far as for the podcast. So we'll see what happens. Either way, thanks again for watching, checking it out. Follow my social media. It's been going on down there. Going Rounds Podcast everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Twitter is Going Rounds Pod. Once again, don't forget to go follow my daughter Trinity, Tenet Trend on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. I'm not sure if she has a Facebook, but look for it. YouTube as well. She has a YouTube page, Tenet Trend. And most importantly, on Twitch. That's where she games and streams. And you can hear her talk shit to people because people like to talk shit to her. All these little insecure motherfuckers out there thinking they can talk shit to her because she's a female gamer, calling her all kinds of names. If I find you, I'm gonna fuck you up. But I know, I get it. You're insecure little shit brick, and you got beat by a girl. You can't handle it. I understand. Go cry to your mommy. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, go follow Trend. She's doing big things over there. And that's about it. Oh, the Rumble podcast. Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Arizona time. Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Arizona time. We cut it down to 2 nights a week, but Sundays we usually do the draft. Tuesdays is Tech Tuesdays. Don't hold us to that. Sometimes we just go off on a tangent and talk about whatever, but we get into interesting discussions. So go check it out. That's about it. Watch me back here, same time, same place, next Thursday. Probably have somebody on. So, and we got a big pay-per-view coming up. So, be ready for that. Catch all the events this weekend. Have fun with those. Yeah, have a good weekend. Take it easy. See you next time. And let me get my shit together. Peace.